Hey everyone, this is Matt from End Sickness. Today I'm going to be teaching how to properly test for mold illness. Okay, this is extremely important because lots of people are suffering out there and they don't know how to get a definite answer on if mold is causing them health issues or not. It's a very tricky situation. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how mold is the hidden cause of many symptoms. I'll give you a little quick summary of myself, my daughter, what we went through. Talk about how the best methods of testing at home and how they're still not definitive. I'll talk about urine tests, organic acid tests, etc., the benefits and limitations of those things. I'll talk about the #1 best way to verify if you have mold illness or are being affected by mycotoxins, the IgG, IgE mycotoxin antibody test. Then I'll talk about getting definitive proof, okay? Having definitive proof that this is causing you an issue and why it's so important and why your whole healing is dependent upon getting this definitive proof so you know what direction to take for the next steps of your healing journey. Talk about mold denial after testing. A lot of people, what they do is often they'll get testing and say, oh, well, maybe it's still not the mold. Well, we just got the test and showed that it is, and here we go. So positive test is good news. We'll talk about why a positive test for mold is actually a really good thing and why it will help you. And then I'll summarize things at the end. So before I go any further, I want to say this is for informational and educational purposes only. All right. I am not a doctor. It should not be used like medical advice. This is just based on my experience, and I want to go ahead and reemphasize that. As you can see, we are outside. We're doing the best we can with this board that's moving around, and we are just moving forward, right? So mold is the hidden cause of many symptoms, right? And obviously, we both, me and my daughter, know this because we went through it significantly on our own. I was extremely ill for over 10 years, didn't realize it was caused by a moldy home. Then my daughter, on the other hand, was completely disabled, literally, from living in a moldy home. I mean, and eventually we both got well. And if you want to learn more about our stories, you can go on to my website, endsickness.org, and hear all the details of the stories and the miraculous recovery. My daughter was literally disabled, and now she's symptom-free, living a normal life. So mold can cause anything: seizures, eczema, learning disabilities, neurological symptoms, tremors in the body, intolerance to sun exposure, food allergies. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Stomach issues. I mean, you just can't, there is probably not a symptom that you could say that it doesn't possibly cause. There are obviously there are symptoms which aren't caused by it, but nearly every symptom can be caused by mold, right? It's wherever you're weakest in your body, that's where your symptoms show up. So testing at home, okay. You have a couple options, There's something called the ERMI test, the ERMI test. That's really your best option, okay? It's gonna cost you about $250. It'll test 36 different mold strains, see which ones are present in your home and which amounts. It'll give you an overall score, give you an idea what the moldiness index is of your home. It goes up to 22, 0 to 22, and you want to be able to identify if you have a home that is high in mold or not. Now, does this tell you if you're getting sick from mold? No, it's not. Because it's not about how much mold is in the house, it's how sensitive you are to it. And this is the theme of the whole video, okay? And it's all about how sensitive you are to the mold, not how much of the mold is in there. That's why one person will, for example, have, be sitting in the house and be disabled by mold, and the other person say, hey, I feel pretty good. I don't know what you're talking about, right? So let's talk about the urine test, okay? Urine test is the classic way that people test for mycotoxins, all right? And the urine test is not really definitive, quite frankly. It is testing how much of these mycotoxins are present in your urine, but as I said again, you could have a lot more in your urine than someone who has a lot less, and the person with a lot less could be a lot sicker. For example, my mom had 10 times the levels that my daughter did, but she only had migraines, food allergies, maybe sleep issues a little bit when my daughter was disabled, right? So she had 10 times the levels in this urine. So the urine test is unreliable. It is not worth spending your money on, okay? I don't care what other these doctors are saying. The OAT test, the organic acids test, it is not worth the money right off the bat. Maybe later in the game, once you spend money on the antibody test, as I'll talk about, but the OAT test is not, it's looking to see if mold is colonized in your body, or looking to see how your amino acid, metabolization is. It's looking to see how your other key nutrients, your cellular health is, etc. These things are not relevant at the beginning when you're trying to figure out if mold's causing you an issue or not. The most important test of all is the IgG, IgE mycotoxin blood test from mymycolabs.com, okay? What they have is a test that tests your antibody response against all the different mycotoxins, okay? And they test both your IgG and your IgE levels. Your IgG is your past exposure, your chronic exposure, okay? Your IgE is your current exposure, okay? If you're showing up really high IgG levels on this test, that means you had heavy past exposure and your immune system still remembers it and is still looking out for it, okay? Your IgE response is what's happened in the last 21 days, what's happened in the last few months if you're younger, a child, and it'll show you, in essence, what your current reactivity is to these mycotoxins. Both of these tests are absolutely critical because many of the people with mold illness don't have tons of mycotoxins in their body. They're just ultra sensitive to small amounts of it. So this is what I realized with my daughter, with most of my clients that have MCAS, is they have these heightened sensitivities to mycotoxins. They have these heightened levels of antibodies, and this is the only test that can actually verify this, okay? So once again, from mymycolab.com, I don't get paid from them. This test has changed my practice, my life, etc. That's why I'm spreading the word. So this is the only place you can really get definitive proof, is this mymycolab, okay? You can also leave your home for 30 days and go into a pristine environment if you could find one and do a test there, you know, but honestly, the number one way to do this is just the mymycolab. And getting definitive proof is critical because when you have definitive proof, now you can lean on it. No, I don't have lupus, I have mold intolerance, you know? No, I don't have MCAS, I have mold hypersensitivity, right? So now it's something that's within your control that you can fix. It's not just this mystical condition that you've been told from someone else that you have, right? So mold denial after testing, you gotta watch out. If you do these urine tests, the OAT tests, you do the ERMI test, you do whatever and go, no, it's not the mold. It's not the mold, it's something else, right? Because the mold requires you to make too many changes. Mold requires you to move. Mold requires you to find a new place. Mold requires you to throw lots of crap you have away. Mold requires all kind of stuff, right? So a lot of people deny that mold is the issue because they don't want to make all the changes that are necessary to get out of the mold, right? I'll definitely say that. And the last part I want to say, a positive test is great news. It's the best news you could possibly ever have, right? The reason is because when you know that you have a mold sensitivity, you know you don't have these other things, these lifelong conditions, this thing that's going to be there forever. Even if you have a mold sensitivity that lasts for a few years after you get out of exposure, good news is, if you stay out of exposure, you live in a house that's safe, you'll be well, right? And that's the key point, all right? So summarize here, you have to do the antibody test to be able to get legitimate results that you can rely on with mycotoxin testing and mold testing. Otherwise, these indoor home tests, the urine tests, the OAT, the immune system doesn't make mistakes. If you got antibodies, the immune system is obviously being triggered, and that's definitive. So reach out to me. This is what I do. This is what I help people with mycotoxin illness, mast cell activation. I beat it myself with my daughter. I've helped plenty of clients. So feel free to reach out. Go to my website, endsickness.org. Join my page. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to see you again soon.